All right, well, it's another edition of Alex Garrett Podcasting, and we're staying in sports because everything else in this world is not giving us much hope. But the fact that baseball is back gives us some hope. But my next guest, sometimes when there is a meme made of them, they maybe get offended. But Gary Dunaier, the thumbs down guy at the 2017 Rays Yankees makeup game, thumbs down guy joins me right now. And Gary, first of all, when the meme, tell us your story and welcome to my podcast. Thanks for joining.
Glad to, glad, glad, to, glad to be on, and hopefully I'll be able to actually talk. Okay. The origin of thumbs down guy. That's what you want?
Yes, sir. Let's start there.
Okay, the origin of thumbs down guy. As you said, I was in attendance at the Yankee Rays game, which was held at Citi Field because the 3-game series was supposed to be played in Tampa, but had to be rescheduled because of Hurricane Irma. And Citi Field was selected as the neutral site. And the reason it was selected as the neutral site was because another site had to be found on short notice, and by playing the game in New York, Major League Baseball would only have to find hotel accommodations for one team instead of two. So that's at least one of the reasons why it was done in New York. So a lot of people wonder why, if the game was played in New York, how come the Yankees were the visiting team? No matter what alternate site would have happened, no matter what site they would have played the game in, the Yankees would have been the road team and the Rays would have been the home team. So anyway, I'm sitting there in my primo seat, second row behind the Yankees dugout, which normally I would not be able to get, but all the seats were $25. All the money went for hurricane relief. So I had really primo seats, and I'm sitting there watching the game, and top of the fourth inning, Todd Frazier hits the home run, and all of a sudden, I'm drowning in a sea of pinstripe passion because of all the Yankee fans that are cheering for the home run. Now, me being a loyal Mets fan, I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't handle it. Now, I knew that even though I was in only the second row behind the dugout, I knew that if I booed, my solitary boo would not be able to be heard amidst all the cheers. So I just stood my ground and made the thumbs down.
Well, when you were memed, how did you feel about that? Because you really run with this brand now. But at first, the memes were flying, as you probably know.
I'm sorry?
The memes, like there were some funny memes about how you did the thumbs down, but you ran with this brand. So was that night when you started it, or what got you to start thumbs down?
That was when it started. My understanding is that it went viral almost immediately, almost literally after it happened. And when I found out, I was in stunned disbelief. I had no idea that they had gotten the shot of me doing thumbs down. I figured because of where I was sitting, I'd wind up on TV just like as one of the faces in the crowd, But they got the close up of me. They zoomed in on me. I had no idea. that was going to happen. I certainly had no idea that how it would all play out.
And then where this comes about is that the last year I saw you on Shea Bridge, and I'm like, that guy looks familiar. Let me wander over, and sure enough, it was the thumbs down guy, and we just sort of hit it off. So I appreciate that you took time to talk to me on the bridge there that night.
Not at all. The check you sent me bounced though, so you got to write a new one.
Well, this podcast will make millions at some point. But hey, back to today, because I really want to talk about the lockout with you. I just want people to get a story. Mm-hmm. It was about to be thumbs down, but do you give MLB? See, the MLB wanted a thumbs up for getting baseball going, but I feel like you still have your thumbs down at MLB even though the agreement has been made. Would you agree with that?
Let me say this about that. It's millionaires versus millionaires, and those of us regular people, regular fans, to a degree, we can't really relate to it. It's like a mega first world problem. I'm just a regular guy with a civil service job. I don't make a lot of money, and so when I'm hearing about all the money that the players are getting, and all the money that the owners have that they can give, on the one hand, as a fan, I'm certainly glad that we have a new owner with deep pockets in the form of Steve Cohen. But on the other hand, when I start hearing about the salaries that people like Scherzer are getting now, I think he's getting like a record-breaking salary. Mm-hmm. It just kind of boggles the mind. I know not every player makes that kind of stratoscopic money, but if my understanding is correct, all the minimum salary that a major league player gets is like $500,000, I think, which is still a lot of money.
Sure. Well, a lot of these guys also stepped up for the draftees. I think that was a big portion of this, is that they want to make sure the draft picks were still compensated. At least the MLBPA did, and because there was a big worry about that. Am I right on that?
Okay, I don't really follow the draft thing, so a lot of that kind of goes over my head.
You didn't join the protest that was outside Major League Baseball offices a couple weeks ago, did you?
I'm sorry?
Did you join the protest outside of Major League Baseball? Because there was a contingent out there protesting the lockout. It was quite interesting to see.
No, unfortunately, I wasn't there to give give my thumbs down.
Well, I was going to say,
yeah,
you're kind of a shy guy by nature. So, has this opened up your, talking to people about this? Like, I feel like you keep to yourself, but this really opened you to the world, if you will.
What is the lockout?
No, the thumbs down sort of opened you up to the world, and I'm sure that you weren't expecting it at all.
Definitely not. That night I was walking around the ballpark a little bit, and a couple of people asked to get their photo with me. Like they said they had seen me. I thought for some reason that I was shown on the video board. Again, I had no idea that the whole thing went viral. Now at the time, I did not have a smartphone. So I wouldn't have known about it. I was blissfully unaware.
Huh. Well, this is, and I don't want to date you here, but this is the 60th or 50th? I think 60th anniversary of the Mets. And
yeah.
What's that make you? How does that make you feel as a long life Met fan that they made it to 60 years? And there's been trials and tribulations, but there's some hope here, isn't there? Like in the 60th season.
Oh, definitely. Like this is, I'm feeling very optimistic. I'm feeling that the World Series title. I'm going to go that far. The World Championship is ours to lose. And I hope that don't happen, because we were doing so great last year. We were in first place for 90 days, and then the rest of the season was thumbs down. No pun intended.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think DeGrom's going to be the pitcher that we thought he'd be a few years ago? Because last year he kind of fell flat. I think he got hurt too. But seeing him back out there must give every Met fan some excitement right now.
I'm very optimistic, and I think the fact that we now have Scherzer on our side, that's gonna be a nice, good-natured rivalry between the two.
Well, it'll be nice, because I went to LA when Scherzer shut down the Mets.
It's definitely got to be some professional pride. Athletes are by nature competitors, so there's going to be some good-natured competition, I'm sure.
Oh, 100%. And these guys are ready to go. I could see that too. Uh, and you know, in the Yankee side, we lost Gary Sanchez, which I'm not really heartbroken about. But um, Garrett Dunaier was I'm talking with the thumbs down guy, and actually, you have a merchandise, don't you? I know that you wear a shirt. Is that for everybody to buy? And I know you have an Instagram also.
Yeah, it's yeah, you can order the shirt at teespring.com. I think they changed the name to Spring. I'm not really sure. But anyway, it's out there. Out there. People can order it, and you know, since I'm giving plugs, I'm also on Cameo in case anybody wants to book me. You know, to send a special a personalized thumbs down to you know, to anybody they want. So look me up in Cameo, people.
Well, that's funny. It's like a only sarcastic friends would send that kind of thing. You know what I mean? That's very funny. Now, I was just gonna ask, do you do the thumbs down uh a lot now, now that you're known as that, or was that just a rare one time thing? Alongside Cameo, I mean in real life. Do you ever find yourself doing that just habitually now?
No, no, not really. You know, I just basically I say it for the ballpark. You know, photo ops, people want me to do the thumbs down, so I do it. I can also do thumbs up or no thumbs. I'm, you know, whatever they want. I'm flexible. That's what she said.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I was gonna say, the people beside the picture, they try and really talk to you, right? Like they want to know you as a person in addition to the photograph. Would you say that?
Oh yeah, sure. Oh yeah. Some people do. Some people just get the photo and that's it. I'm okay either way.
Well, I gotta share a story because I don't know if you remember this, but it was almost like the final night at Citi Field, and I was just excited to run into you. I almost scared the bejesus out of you going to the subway, and I'm like, oh my God, Gary, I'm so sorry I scared you, but I was just so excited to see you as you were walking up the steps there. So that was a little funny. Uh, Go ahead.
I don't know. I was just gonna say. I remember one time I'm waiting online for something at a concession stand or something, and somebody comes up and like they're so excited, they are so excited to see me. You know this person in particular was, and me being kind of in smartass mode. You know, after we got our photo, I said, "Well, now you can go home. This meeting me was the highlight of your day," and the guy said, "Yeah, it is," and he just had a lot of sincerity in him that, you know, so I thought he wasn't just playing along. Like it may really have been. So it's you know, it's weird.
Are you a Queens native
I live in Queens.
from birth, or like have you ever been a lifelong Queens native?
I was actually born in Brooklyn.
Okay.
We moved to Queens when I was a little baby boy.
Wow. So you had kind
So
of Mets ingrained, or were your folks Dodger fans at first because of the Brooklyn Dodgers?
well, the ironic thing is that um um I didn't inherit the interest in sports from my parents. My father was not a sports fan. And the ironic thing about that is that he was physically close to all the New York City ballparks. He was raised um, he was raised about a half mile from the Polo Grounds and by nature Yankee Stadium as well because the two parks were so close. Um, he bought one of his first cars from Young Motors, which was across the street from Ebbets Field. And he worked as an electrician for the New York City Transit Authority. And one of the places that he worked was it wasn't called at the time, but now the Casey Stengel Depot across from Shea Stadium. So it's funny that he had that proximity to all the ballparks, but he was never a big sports fan.
Years later, it's still called the Casey Stengel Depot. By the way, they haven't renamed that. Thank God. Okay, back to the current day though, because the Mets had a
Yes.
huge blessing today that Pete Alonso was not. You know, I didn't say not dead, but yeah, it seemed like that he had to survive that. So,
Oh, definitely. Yeah. No, that was a shock to hear.
But while we send
You know,
prayers to him, do you think that messes up his whole season now? I mean, can he recover from that, do you think?
I think, I think, I think he can. I think he can. He's got a good head. He's got a good head and the shoulders. He doesn't seem to be like a partying guy like Matt Harvey was.
No, oh my God!
Well,
Now they say he did some shit, behind the scenes.
and all the hype that 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 he was getting when he had his rookie season in 2019. I contributed it too. I contributed to it too because what I was saying about him was that Pete Alonso is so awesome. He can hit a grand slam with the bases empty. I actually told that to him once. I met him during a season ticket holder photo op day, so I got to tell him that, and he got a kick out of it. He liked that.
Have you been to? We are the 50. That's very cool. That's your season ticket holder. Is that still the case this year? And did the pandemic affect that at all?
I'm sorry. Did it affect what?
Season ticket holders. How much of effect did the pandemic have on you guys as season ticket holders? Because I never knew.
Well, obviously, since we didn't play it in 2020, all the money that we spent was credited for 2021, unless we wanted a refund. And they were going to do something similar for the unplayed games this year. But now my understanding is since it's going to be a full season again, the first week or whatever it was that wasn't played, they'll just put them in during off days. So this year we're gonna get our full.
How were you during the pandemic?
Games.
I feel like you're an avid baseball fan, so not being at the park must have killed you a little bit.
It did. It was very strange because I go to a lot of games. I don't go to every single game, but I go to a lot. I go to a lot of them, and it did feel strange to not go to not be able to do that, to not be able to have that option.
And when I went out there were actually people in the back of the stadium by the bullpen area looking to see if they get a ball still. I mean, there were some dedicated fans out there during the pandemic. Gary, I got to ask you about this because you're a National League follower. I mean, you follow the Mets, you follow the NL. Universal DH, is that a good thing for NL pitchers now to rest their arms? Will we see more duels now because of this rule?
Well, my first thought is that it takes away from the potential dramatic moments that like something like Bartolo Colon's home run. That was definitely a great moment in Mets history, at least anyway. And it takes away a little bit of the strategy. But we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not gonna go ahead and say that that I'm against the DH, that it was a bad idea. Me being a National League follower, I'm just that's just the way I'm used to it. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. It'll be interesting to see how the National League adapts to the universal DH.
We'll have to see. Do you think that was to preserve the arms, though? I mean, or what was the reasoning behind it? Because I still am trying to figure that out, to be honest.
Well, it's definitely going to be a benefit. Hopefully the pitchers will be able to stay in the game longer. They can rest up. They don't have to worry about like if they get on base, then they have to stand out there. They have to stand out there on the field. And if it's an early season game with the cold weather, or if it's or if like the weather happens to be bad, like rain or whatever, like at least they're not having to deal with that.
And to your point, I mean, I remember last year pitchers were literally starting the 10th inning on second because they were last up. I remember that. I mean, that was a big thing for those couple of years. Are you glad that we're back to 9 innings for doubleheaders, and are you glad that we're out of that 10th inning, second man on second, as a purist that I feel like you are?
The last one first. Yeah, I think I'm glad that I'm glad that we're getting rid of the the automatic runner on second base. And as far as the 9-inning doubleheaders, I think one of the worst things that they did was when they had the doubleheaders for 7 innings, but they were like day-night doubleheaders.
The split
so
gate,
the fans, so the fans were like paying like full price for one 7-inning game.
And we pay for 9 innings in baseball, right?
That wasn't right. I mean, if they're single admission doubleheaders, that's okay. I can understand that. But full price for 7-inning game? No. That gets a big thumbs down.
Oh, I love that line. That's very cool. And I love that line. But Gary, I gotta ask you this also. How many did you go to the World Series at Shea and Citi Field? Did you get to any of those World Series? Because I want to just pick your brain while I got you right now. So, had you been to any of those World Series, the 86, 69, and even 2000, 2015?
Well, I was not a baseball fan as a little boy, amazingly enough. So I don't have any nostalgic memories of 69. 1986, I didn't get tickets, but what I did do was I went out to Shea because I live, like I said, I live in Queens, so it's not a hassle for me to get out there. And I just walked around the ballpark a few times just to get some of the atmosphere.
And I know that they had to go to that Game 7, so I guess you weren't around for the big moment in Game 6, or were you outside the stadium for that moment where the crowd went crazy?
No, I was at home.
Were prices expensive then?
I was at home. I seen it on the television.
Were prices expensive for those World Series? I feel like nowadays the World Series cost a fortune, but how expensive were they back in the 80s?
I don't remember offhand. That I couldn't tell you. But I did go to the World Series in 2015. So that was a big thrill. That was my first experience being at a World Series, and of course the ending was a disappointment, seeing Kansas City win it in our building. But the thing was the way the games had played out. That game was Game 5, I think. So that would have been the final game at Citi Field anyway, for the season. So if the Mets had gone on to win and they had eventually gone on to win the World Series, they would have won it in Kansas City. So that would have been a little disappointing to not be able to see it in person.
It was amazing.
But having our team win it, is better than like seeing the other team win in person.
Sure, and I was going to say, it was amazing that Daniel Murphy had such a huge postseason, and then that one throw, it was bad, and you just wonder what was going through, because I think Duda also made a throwing error. Maybe he was the big one, but it just was shocking how collapsed they became in the World Series at one point.
Yeah. Well, what can you say? These things happen. Like they say, you never know what's gonna happen.
Does Buck finally win a ring with the Mets? I feel like your prognostication says yes. So I feel like Buck's the leader they need right now. How about you?
Well, yeah, I'm optimistic with Buck at the helm. Yeah, we've been getting all these. Excuse me, we've been getting all these new guys, and it would have been great if they, if they had been able to take us to the World Series, but Rojas couldn't do it, Callaway couldn't do it, so we needed a seasoned guy, and we got one.
It's amazing the front office woes continued though a little bit, because you had a GM that was drunk in White Plains, and everybody thought Cohen was going to be the guy that changes things. I guess we still have to give him time though.
Yeah, that's the thing. You have to give it time. People were very early on in his ownership. people were getting on his case because he wasn't spending the money yet. People were everybody was thinking, oh, Steve Cohen, he's got a lot of money and he's willing to spend it. He wasn't doing it. Well, there's a reason that a guy like him becomes a billionaire. Not spending frivolously. The money is there when he needs it. But he's not spending just for the sake of looking good in the newspapers.
He wants to win. I know. I could see that.
I mean, definitely the proof in that is again Scherzer. I think Scherzer's the highest paid player now. I think in the whole sport.
That's right. They don't have a lot of money for him. Okay, a couple more questions because this was the Yankees at Citi Field. That's not a rare occurrence. In fact, sometimes in the 90s when the renovations were happening at the old stadium, the Yankees would play at Shea. Did you ever get to catch them at Shea when they were the home team playing because of the renovations at the Yankee Stadium?
No, I didn't go. I didn't go then. Okay. I didn't go to Yankee games for a very long time. I finally started going again. The last couple of years of the stadium because I had started taking pictures, and one of my passions was walking around the ballpark taking pictures from all sorts of different angles. And in fact, I have a lot of them uploaded on the photo sharing site Flickr, FLICKR. And if anybody can search for them, like under my name, Gary Dunaier. And they'll see like a ton of pictures, from all sorts of different angles. It's mostly Citi Field, but I got some Shea pictures, and I got a lot of pictures of the demolition of Shea and Yankee Stadium. Wow. In fact, one cool picture I got was when they took down the last part of the upper deck at Yankee Stadium. I got the shot from a unique vantage point from the roof of one of the apartment buildings across the street. I was the only still photographer on the roof of that particular building. Mm. So it's a very unusual perspective.
Well, I'm gonna tag the Flickr thing on my comments here, so click the link in the comments in the description after this pod. When you listen to this, Gary. You just mentioned the rooftop, so I got to ask you: have you made field trips to like Chicago for their, because they got the rooftop? Have you made trips to see the Mets outside of New York?
No, I don't really travel outside of New York City. Okay. I haven't really had the opportunity. I haven't really had the reason. In fact, I got a fun little anecdote about that. When Jimmy Kimmel did his week of shows in Brooklyn that year, I was on the show, just a couple bits in the audience. And for those who aren't familiar with the show, he also does a meet the audience segment, which is only done online. So I didn't know it at the time. During one of the during the first commercial break, he started talking to me. I thought it was just a casual conversation to fill the time. I didn't realize it was being recorded.
That's so cool. So, yeah. That's very cool, actually.
And one of the things that he said when he was at he had asked me like if I would be rooting for the Yankees to win it all, and I didn't really have an opinion on that. And he said, well, we could bring you out to LA with us if you'd how would you think about that? And I told him that that I'd have to get approval from time off from my job, and I got a big laugh from everybody, But the funny thing is that I didn't think he was serious. I thought he was kidding around. Huh. Well, so that's one of the reasons that I had said that, But also I was thinking, logistically, the World Series, the first game would have just been like a few days after the taping of the Kimmel show, And since I've never really traveled out in New York, I've never ridden in an airplane. I didn't really know what kind of logistical preparations I would have needed to. I would have needed to do. It would just have been a total new experience for me. But thanks to Houston's cheating, we never got to see if that actually happened.
Well, and the pandemic wiped out their return to New York at Citi Field, and people were ready to, skin them alive. It felt like when they were coming to New York, but the pandemic put a halt to that. Gary, you sound like you talk to the media sometimes. Do you ever call up sports talk, or do you like listening to FAN and all them here in the city, or are you not really a sports talk radio listener slash caller?
I'm really not a sports talk radio guy. Because the funny thing is that my fandom is not really the type where like discuss stats and a lot of the technical stuff and what do I think about this guy coming to the team? Should a team sign this guy? I mean, the new guys that the Mets just signed. The new pitcher we got. I don't know them. I don't know that much about him, so I have no opinion on whether or not he's going to be good or not. So I have to go with the consensus, and I just let the consensus influence me. I mean, if I had an honest, actual opinion one way or the other, I would have it.
Huh. Speaking of consensus, I'm just thinking of analytics because baseball's gone totally analytical. Is that hurting the sport? Is the shift hurting the sport? I mean, I feel like it kills it a little bit, doesn't it?
It's hard to say because the game is played differently, different atmospheres and different times. For instance, I'm when I'm at the ballpark, and I'm hearing the players walk up music, the two strike chants when the pitcher gets two strikes, and my first thinking is I wonder sometimes if that kind of distracts them. Then I realize that maybe I've been following baseball for so many years before this stuff came into play. But the players grew up with this. So this is how baseball is to them. So in and of itself, it probably doesn't distract them. That's a part of the game as they know it.
Huh. Very interesting. Well, I just feel like sometimes the manager doesn't have the control of his team, it seems like. But anyway, Gary, I'm so excited to talk to you this evening. Can we see? Should we expect you at the stadium this year at Citi Field with baseball back? You're back.
I'll be there. Yeah.
Very exciting.
I mean, I got my season tickets. I'm still paying for them. I pay monthly. I don't pay it in one flat form. So I take the seven payment plan. But I'll be there.
And do you like Citi Field? I feel like traditionalists are like, we miss Shea. He was only 44 years old or something like that. But this ballpark is pretty beautiful, isn't it?
It's a nice ballpark. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. There are a lot of things that I wish were done differently. And I kind of have a feeling that had Steve Cohen been in charge of building the stadium, it might have been a lot more fan friendly. There are a lot of obstructed views upstairs because of the platforms on the upper deck. For instance, they could have used more escalators, instead of just the two that they have in the right field and left field corners.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Well, I'll be excited to see you back out there, Gary, and please do come back. I'm excited to keep this friendship going, connection going, and hey, maybe we'll do a live session from the ballpark. That would be kind of interesting this year.
There you go. That would be good for you. Increase your ratings.
Plug your socials again. What's your Twitter? Do you have a Twitter? I know you have Instagram, so tell us what your handle is.
Okay. My handle on Instagram, I don't use it too much, so I think that's thumbs down guy 122. On Twitter, it's Gary Dunaier, one word. It's just my name, and I also have a thumbs down guy page on Facebook. So so people can feel free to check that out. Facebook is the social media that I use most often.
Okay.
So.
Well, we'll tag you there also at the Thumbs Down Guy. We'll definitely tag you there. And congrats on building this brand. And teespring.com also, you got to check them out to buy a Thumbs Down Guy shirt.
And I also have a bobblehead, which is still available. So if we got any bobblehead fans out there, and I'm sure we do because everybody loves bobbleheads, go to the Bobblehead Hall of Fame. They made the bobblehead, and look for Thumbs Down Guy bobblehead, and buy one, give one as a gift. I need the money.
I love that. All right, Gary Dunaier, thanks so much for joining, and we will talk to you soon. See you at the ballpark this year, bud.
Okay, thanks, Alex.
I'm Alex Garrett. Thank you to Gary Dunaier for taking us off the news pages and just talking sports. This is my passion. Sports hour. That's it. The other stuff I could really use less of right now, all the news we got. So Gary, thanks for that relief on this podcast tonight.
It's been a pleasure.
And I'm Alex Garrett.
It's been a real thumbs up experience.
There you go. I'm gonna tag that on Instagram. Thanks, Gary, and God bless, and we'll see you at the stadium.
All right, say a prayer.
I will. Take care. Bye. Thank you to Gary. That was awesome. And we do continue to pray for Ukraine. We hope that there's action against Putin. But for now, keep it in the sports vibe. Gotta love that. And prayers to Pete Alonso, also recovering from that crash earlier today.